Hello, everyone. For this project, I explored the question of how historians can research the lives of enslaved people in small towns. While slavery is often associated with large plantations in the Deep South, the historical record demonstrates that slavery was also an important part of life in small Mid-Atlantic communities, including those in Delaware. My reason for looking into this is that I am currently working on a project for Parson Thorne Mansion, an historical building in Milford, Delaware. This project will create an exhibit with information on the enslaved people who lived on the plantation. One challenge historians face is that enslaved people were often underrepresented in written records. To overcome this problem, researchers must use a variety of source types. My first source, The Place Beyond the Fence, Slavery and Cultural Invention on a Delaware Tenant Farm, demonstrates the value of archaeology in recovering the experiences of enslaved individuals. The authors examined the remains of enslaved laborers' quarters in Newcastle County and showed how material culture can reveal housing conditions, diet, religious practices, and cultural adaptations that are often absent from traditional documentary records. The article argues that archaeology gives voice to people who were frequently silenced in written sources. My second source, Kellen Hannaford's The Rise and Fall of a Free Delaware, challenges the popular belief that Delaware was essentially a free state during the Republic. Hannaford demonstrates that many white Delawareans constructed a narrative that minimized the reality of slavery within the state, creating what she describes as a mythology of freedom that obscured the experiences of enslaved African Americans. This article is particularly useful because it shows how public memory can distort local history and erase uncomfortable truths. This myth continues today, as recent comments on social media related to a removed statue of Caesar Rodney indicated those living today believe the people of Delaware were too poor to own slaves. Nothing could have been further from the truth, which is why more museums and historical sites should delve into the truth about slavery. My third source, The Travail of Delaware Slave Families in the Early Republic by Gary Nash and Miles Albrook Stanley, provides insight into the daily realities faced by enslaved families. The authors show how Delaware's domestic slave trade disrupted marriages, separated parents and children, and created constant uncertainty within enslaved communities. Their research demonstrates that even in a state with relatively small slaveholdings, the institution of slavery profoundly affected family life and community stability. Finally, I examined James Latcham's recollections of growing up in Milford during the early 20th century. While not directly focused on slavery, this source illustrates how local memory operates within small communities. Memoirs such as these can provide valuable context about how communities remember, or fail to remember, the experiences of marginalized populations. When used alongside archaeological and documentary evidence, local recollections can help historians identify gaps in public memory and ask new questions about whose stories have been preserved. Taken together, these sources demonstrate that researching enslaved people in a small town requires an interdisciplinary approach. Archaeology, family history, political history, and local memory each reveal different aspects of the past. More importantly, they remind us that slavery was not simply a Southern institution. It shaped communities throughout Delaware, including small towns whose histories are still being explored today. Thank you.